My name is Kyle Ruerat. I'm 22 years old, and this is my mental health story. Like I was, going through, I was like a high school kid, 11th grade, everything's, you think of yourself as just a normal kid, waking up every day, going to school, and, one evening, it was, or one morning, I was going to school, it was April 10th, 2013, and just a complete downpour, wipers going, like, as fast as they could go. There's this lifted pickup truck that was tailgating me, just kind of like sitting on me, and he decided to fly up the turn lane that comes into like the school, and hits an oncoming car. It was like a Chevy Cobalt, small compact car, and then in turn that car like spun out of control and T-boned me at 60 miles an hour. So I woke, I was knocked unconscious, trying to see, like head was turned, like face laying on the steering wheel, the driver's window was blown out, an airbag didn't go off somehow. I remember just shards of glass just kind of like all over me. Wake up and there's this guy, because I was knocked unconscious, he basically like grabbed me and like shook me like, hey, you okay, you okay? Woke up completely out of it, to like, looked up to the sight and the sound of sirens, and ended up being 8 cars involved, just a domino effect, one after another, and cars popping over. The truck that caused the whole accident, the tire of his axle just flew off into like this field. He was completely fine with everything. It's like, oh, I'm fine, no worries. Didn't even care about what he did. Kind of walked off. I later called my mom, told her what happened. Once I came to, took me to the hospital and kind of checked for like internal bleeding, all this stuff. I had some minor cuts and bruises, but I obviously didn't go to school that day. Because I was like completely out of it. Your whole body, just when you get that much adrenaline, oh, it's unbelievable what you can, how you feel after that. So as time progressed, to kind of go into things, I was just completely shook up to the core. I was put on like some medications for like, because I had pretty bad whiplash from the accident. They call it chest contusions, which is basically just bruising. I had pretty like bruises up and down my rib cage, and nothing. Luckily, I thought for a second like there's something wrong with like my neck. Basically do one of these things. Let's put on like some pain meds for it, and being in 11th grade, people are pretty cruel with that stuff. Seeing that you're on meds, your pupils get really big, and the whole rumor was like, oh, Ruerat's like this, he's a drug addict, he's like this, Kyle's doing heroin, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then it just really affected my self-esteem. And as time progressed later, fast forward, I graduated high school, and I was starting college. The big thing with college is the whole fear of gaining like this so-called freshman 15, putting on all the weight of like this life change. And with that being in mind, started restricting my eating habits. And I restricted it so much that I lost just under 40 pounds in 4 months. Doctors, I'm starting to see doctors, my parents starting to notice how my face was all gaunt, like sunk in. And I finished that fall semester, and I was starting the spring semester, and I basically just had a meltdown in class, in one of my classes. Went to a doctor, says like, yeah, you can't, the school is like, you shouldn't be going to school right now with like your condition. Basically it's not healthy for you right now. You gotta find like, your health should be like your #1 priority. Started seeing a therapist, started doing things for myself. I was completely distraught because school, I'm like, I gotta trying to knock out college at this age, like trying to get through it. I had a big fan of school, but I just excelled in it, which is why I kept going, obviously. And time progressed, I started going to an outpatient treatment out at St. Joe's in Ann Arbor, and I made it 2 days, and because I was completely just mortified of driving, hated every second of it. My parents took me there the first day, and outpatient treatment, it's like think of it as like it is like a job. It's like 9 to 3. You go and you sit in like a group with other people and you kind of talk about your issues and what's going on. And one of those days, mom couldn't drive me, and I missed my exit, and I had a full-on meltdown, panicking, sweating profusely, taking back roads to try to get to like the outpatient treatment, to the clinic. Slid through a stop sign like this time, like how it is snowing today, and made it there, went to the doctors, and just completely unleashed the beast, so to speak. Completely had a meltdown, and she thought that it was best I go in inpatient. As time went on, I had a hard time sleeping. I was put on like a ton of medications for it, for like depression, and I was ranked on the highest on the scale of suicidal ideation, and and they later diagnosed me with anorexia and a whole other like spectrum of illnesses, anxiety disorder, and I had obsessive compulsive disorder. They were saying that I was really it can be voluntary or involuntary, and I hated treatment. I didn't want to do it. I didn't like the people. It was a pretty like intense situation for me with other people in the clinic and all that stuff. But I was there. A typical stay is 5 to 10 days. I was there for about a month and a half, and going through it, started eating again, started taking care of myself, and later on, after I was discharged, I was basically sitting back. I was in this bubble of nurses coming like tend to me every day, and like, oh hey Kyle, how you doing? Have that every single day, almost every hour of the day. People asking how you're doing, and I didn't even know what that was like, because I was so like I was isolating myself. I didn't care about anything. And later, as I got discharged from inpatient, I went back to outpatient clinic. Finished. It was like a 3-week program. Finished that, and it was basically going into like, how am I going to get back into society again and be functioning as an adult, so to speak. Basically like about a year and a half. I had to take off school, had to work on myself, and yeah, it was really just like a tough time for me. Kind of going through, trying to, you know, having the amount of like suicide attempts and all this other stuff that I've been through, and having people come up to me and ask like how they can deal with their situations, because I've tried like 6 times. Like you know, like done everything, but besides using like firearms and all that stuff, very like at the depths of it. And you know, as that time kind of went on, I was able to kind of get out of that mentality and start working on myself, which is like the #1 thing that I tell people that go through this stuff is your health is like #1 priority. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, you know, school's always going to be there. You always will be able to go and obtain a job, but you know, if you're not healthy, then you won't. None of that will be possible. There was a time where in the hospital you get put on all these like medications, and I was just so completely out of it, and trying to like this whole like whirlwind of emotions going on, and I tried hanging myself with the shower curtain, kind of like steel rods, put things together, and luckily, you know, a nurse like swings open like a door and just kind of like grabs me. It's like, no, like not today. Like, was just grabbing me, and just like tears are flowing. Calling like mom and dad, kind of tell them, and they were just obviously devastated. They don't want to like lose their child in any of that situations, but yeah, that's definitely like the worst. But yeah, I mean, it's really a matter of like, you know, where I'm at now, and how like skating was able to like bring me back out of this like deep dark depths of depression. Because in that whole span when I wasn't in like treatment or anything like that, I was skating. Because everything felt like future oriented. College, you know, looking for the future. You're working on yourself so you can be better, you know, later on down the road. And the thing of what I love so much about skating was like it's in the now. This is like you just focus on you and the board. You don't have to worry about anything else. The second I walk into like a skate park like here at Modern, this whole like anxiety and the stress just melts at the door. You're able to just have fun, smile from ear to ear, and just kind of do what makes you happy. Like right now, like I don't think of myself as a college student. I'm a skateboarder. I will always be a skateboarder. Just first of all, like just the fact that you go and you seek treatment is like the biggest step into like the whole recovery process. Because a lot of people that I've talked to, they can be reluctant with it. They don't want to do it. Oh, I don't want to be on medications. I want to be in control of like how I feel. And basically, if you just start going to treatment, go talk to a therapist, psychiatrist, your doctor to start with, like everyone for the most part has primary care physician. Go talk, just tell them how you feel. Don't lie about it anymore. Basically, just come clean about it. This is how I feel, and just kind of take the next step into working on yourself. That's what's most important. There was a time when I was sitting inpatient. I didn't sleep or anything. And there's just this big bay window that sits, and I would just kind of like sit on the ledge and just kind of like watch people, like, you know, the nurses come in, and this doctor comes in, he knocks on the door, and he goes like, you know, hey, Kyle, you like nature? I go, what are you talking about? Do I like nature? And he goes, yeah, you've been doing this for like, this is day 3, and you're like staring at, you looking out the window, what's going on? This doctor came up to me and he says, it's like just like the sun, like, rose, it's gonna set, and just like your problems are gonna come into your life, they're gonna go away. Nothing persists. Things are gonna change for the better. I do presentations for NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. Been going all over the state of Michigan, helping people with similar problems and issues, sharing my story, kind of going into more detail about it, how I was able to overcome something so traumatic and be able to just function, be a happy guy. Because it's like, people come, like, I get asked all the time, like, are you, like, this mom comes up to me, like, are you really this happy all the time? I go, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Well, everything's awesome, so.
My name is Kyle Ruerat. I'm a positive seed.